Does body neutrality mean that you don't get to love your body? Due to the fact that I preach body neutrality, people sometimes ask me this. They'll feel really concerned, especially if somebody has ever had a background of an eating disorder where they used to live in a really thin body that they loved at the time, and now they're looking at body neutrality in a sort of normal-sized body or a body that's bigger, and they're wondering, will I ever love my body again the way that I loved living in that body? And the answer is yes and no. So we're going to unpack that a little bit today. Yes, you will get to love your body. Yes, you can love your body. I think of body neutrality as sort of something you have to go through in order to get to joyful loving your body. So it comes first, and I think it's pretty non-negotiable that you have to go from negative to neutral before you can go from neutral to positive. That said, it's not as simple as, yes, of course, you'll go through neutral and then you'll love it again the way you used to, because it's different. So what most people think loving their bodies is not actually love. They're thinking of loving their body based on how they look, right? So they loved how they looked at the time that they were very thin, or more often they didn't really love how they looked, but they loved how other people treated them, or they loved how they knew that other people saw them a very particular way. So they loved the privilege and a status that their body acquired for them. They didn't necessarily love their bodies. And that's what they're thinking of when they ask me, will I ever love my body again? Or will I ever love my body for the first time? They're thinking, will I ever love how my body looks? So I just want to totally get that out of your head, because no, you might not always love how your body looks. You might not even ever like how your body looks, but you can still love a body, even if you don't like how it looks. So just to look at what that feeling is that people are imagining is loving the status and privilege that their body affords them. That's what they're imagining success at body love is. And that is super conditional. That's not really love. It's often only associated either with a specific time in your life when you were sick, eating disordered, whatever, maybe in high school or college, when you were at your lowest weight perhaps, or maybe it's something that's never happened, it's just what you're imagining, but those positive feelings associated with getting your emotional needs met is what you are imagining love feels like. So you're imagining that for validation, belonging, safety, purpose, acceptance, high status, and privilege, all these things are going to be like, oh, it's going to feel so good when I reach my body goals, my dream body. That's what it's going to feel like. I'm going to love it for all those reasons. I'm just going to feel so fulfilled, and I'm going to feel so like all of these amazing feelings. I'm going to feel safe. I'm going to feel accepted. I'm going to feel like I belong. I'm going to feel like people like me. That's what you're talking about. You're not really talking about loving the body. You're talking about loving the status and privilege that specific bodies can acquire for you. And that's not love. Also, yeah, that feels amazing. I absolutely understand why being high status and sort of better than everyone in that kind of way that a lot of women with eating disorders will report to me. They'll say, oh, everyone was so jealous of my very skinny body. I loved it. I loved how that felt. This makes sense, right? It feels amazing when everybody is jealous of you and you have the thing that everybody wants, especially in our fat phobic, thin, obsessed culture. This makes sense. But that is not love. And that is not what you will feel at the end of healing your body image issues. That is kind of like loving and appreciating a partner because they're rich and afford you a rich and fancy lifestyle, but not seeing any other value in them. It might feel good. In fact, I'd imagine that could feel very good, but it's dehumanizing and it's conditional and it's not love. It's objectification, it's hollow and it's empty. And so is loving your body for how it looks. So if the love that you're imagining or have experienced of your body was about feeling superior to other people, then no, you'll never feel that again. That is a hollow, empty type of love that is not what we're talking about. The outcome of really learning to love your body is different than that. It feels different. It is different. Also, that kind of love is really just about trying to fill a fucking void inside you. When you heal your body image, at least the way that I have my clients heal their body image, you build a sense of self-identity and self-worth based on who you are as a person, which means that you radically explore and face and accept and embrace every single part of yourself. And you get your emotional needs for belonging, connection, safety, acceptance. You get all those emotional needs met directly, having nothing to do with how you look. And you fill that void. You fill that void with liking yourself, with approving of yourself, with believing in yourself, with truly loving and accepting yourself. That's how you fill that void. And so there isn't a void to fill with feeling better than other people. There's no need for that. In fact, it doesn't even make sense when you get to the after in the work that I do, because your needs will be met and you'll trust yourself to just meet them as they arise. And your life will be filled with connection and interesting stuff and meaning and purpose. And you won't need to fill a void with feeling better than other people because of how you look. It just won't even make sense. It'll feel really hollow. It'll feel really empty. It'll feel like if you learn to finally value yourself and then you and find true connection with people, and then you look back on that relationship with the partner who you valued for being rich and offering you this rich lifestyle and being like, can't believe I ever settled for something so empty. It will feel sad and kind of pointless, because the love that we're talking about is real love, and that is just filling a void. And it can feel amazing. It's just different, and it's not actually love. So also, if once we've done this work, including dismantling social programming, facing and embracing your whole self, building a life that feels like you, your relationship with your body will feel totally different. You'll be able to appreciate it for what it does and for how it feels and for how it provides you the ability to sort of interface with the world. Like every single thing you do in your life that feels good will be done through you and your body. So your body allows you to have the full human experience here on earth. And you'll be able to appreciate that because the human experience will feel better. You'll also feel more positive feelings towards yourself in general as a person, so that when you look in the mirror, you're not projecting all kinds of negative, resentful stuff. The positive thoughts about yourself will start to creep into who you see when you look at yourself. You'll experience a feeling of safety, security, and confidence in your own skin because you're tuned into your intuition, because you're tuned into the wisdom of your body. And you'll be able to tolerate your feelings so you can have a much more embodied experience, meaning you feel things more fully, including joy and pleasure and belonging. These are things that will feel so good and so different when you're really embodied in them, meaning living them from the inside instead of imagining how you look while doing them. So for all of these reasons and more, you won't have doubt, or rather you won't have guilt, resentment, criticisms, and self-spectatoring and objectification getting in the way of all of your life experiences. You will feel different in your body once you've done the work to get to body neutrality. And on the other side of that, loving your body is possible, but it's totally different than what you might have been imagining all this time. So yes, you will be able to feel good. You'll even be able to feel amazing. You'll be really fully there, and you'll feel safe, and you'll feel present. You'll have access to joy and pleasure. Not all the time, mind you. You're still in a human body. It's all of the things. You'll experience all of the things. But you'll be able to access it, and it feels good. It just won't feel like the same kind of good that you may have been either remembering or imagining that body love is supposed to feel like if you've been thinking about the kind of superiority and conditional love of being at the top of the hierarchy for body and beauty stuff. Meaning better than other people, superior, high status, and enjoying all of the privileges that you imagine or experience that would bring you. So in my opinion, it's totally better to do the version that goes through body neutral and healing all of this stuff and then getting to true love and appreciation and respect for your body. But it's also kind of boring in some ways by comparison. People tell me all the time. They're like, oh, I just realized I went on this girls trip and I didn't think about my body at all. I just went swimming and ate food. Yeah, it was cool. And I'm like, right, this is the boring outcome of doing this work. Everybody imagines it'll be like, oh, I was obsessed with how I looked. I just loved how I looked in every moment. I just, me and my body, it's so joyful. But actually, it's kind of boring. You're like, oh, I just lived my life. I focused on my friends and I had a good time. So there is a lack of that void. And there's a true sense of worth and identity in who you are. And it is so, so much better, in my opinion, to experience loving and respecting your body from that place after you've done all this work to go through body neutrality. But it has to be said that it's different. And that if what you are really looking for is to be better than everybody, then you're still trying to fill a void, and that is not love. So can you love your body? Yes, absolutely. After body neutrality, you can get to a really positive, joyful, loving, respecting relationship with your body. But it won't be about loving how you look. Maybe even ever, but certainly not all the time. And it won't be about this really sort of magical thinking version of loving yourself, which comes from actually just filling that void and feeling better than other people. And that's it. If you have any questions, comments, leave them below. And I want to talk about this with you, so let's discuss.